I am very hesitant about posting this video because I know I am likely committing career suicide in doing so. But I feel very strongly about highlighting and showcasing some of the discrimination and retaliation that I have endured as a minority educator. I know there are others out there that have experienced the same type of treatment, probably with the same school district. However, I believe that remaining silent plays right into their hand, and it is actually a benefit to them. So I'm just going to share my experiences and what has happened to me and what was done to me as a result of reporting my superior. So the day after reporting my superior, Prince William County's HR policies allowed administrative action to be taken against me without my knowledge of wrongdoing. And what I mean by that is the day after I reported my supervisor's unethical and immoral behavior, I was escorted out of the building without reason, other than it's not disciplinary. And I keep glancing up at the computer as to remind me of my speaking points. So there was no documentation, there was no investigation or anything else like that, other than my reporting my supervisor the very day before. 7 days later, I was called back into HR and I was accused of inappropriate conduct with a student. And I later learned, not that day, that conduct meant comment. But that day that I was called in, I specifically asked, what was the comment? Who made the comment? Who reported the comment? When was the comment allegedly made? And they, when I say they, I mean those two ladies sitting in HR, could not answer that question. So I was led to believe that the only thing that had happened, the only thing that was reported, was my comments about my principal. That I had reported her for being, unethical, immoral, causing chaos in the school by launching meritless, investigation and soliciting students to do so. I had reported that just the day before. My same principal allowed a white co-worker to go without reprimand for using the phrase badass nigger. So I know that there was never an investigation into my conduct. There was never an investigation into the reason that I was escorted out and placed on administrative leave. And because of that, I filed a complaint with OHR, Office of Human Rights. 3 weeks after that complaint, I received a recommendation for dismissal. I'd never been on an improvement plan. I was still not told what the comment that I supposedly made to the student, nor was I told the name of the student. There was no investigation, yet I was up for dismissal. When we got around to the hearing, My principal knowingly admitted to manufacturing documents that were not true, because they contained false statements. There were documents in my personnel file where HR had gone in and changed dates, and they created flagrant narratives to ensure my dismissal. Despite having 2 eyewitnesses come in and testify on my behalf, as they were co-teachers the day that this alleged complaint happened, I was still removed. My contract was still revoked. Those 2 teachers were co-teachers of mine that day, and they were privy to any information or any communication that I would have had with the student. Furthermore, we're under surveillance 24 hours a day. So those 2 witnesses disavow my conduct. We also learned, when I say we, I mean my union attorney, we also learned that the investigative reports that pertain to an investigation that I launched and one that a coworker launched against me were tampered with. One of the times that I reported my supervisor, she and the school social worker actually collaborated on a complaint against me and hand delivered it to HR. And if at any point in time Prince William County Schools want to dispute this, the hearing testimony documents all of this. So they discarded 6 of my 8 complaints, admittedly so. They said they rolled them all up into one. Those were complaints that I made against my principal, complaints that occurred on different days, and I had different evidence. From ordering my supplies to conspiring or talking about me with other teachers, you name it, and it was dismissed. The hearing officer, who was appointed by the superintendent, disregarded or rejected any statements that my witnesses made, yet she said that they were very credible witnesses. And in her write-up, the hearing officer says that she does believe that some of the things that I went through or experienced while working under my supervisor was due to race. However, she didn't believe that I was discriminated against. And so my question to her was then explain how race played a part into it. She also said that I wasn't a credible witness, but failed to say why she made that statement. She failed to give any kind of supporting details onto what was incredible about my testimony. She also failed to neglect the collaboration between the principal and the co-worker on that complaint against me. This co-worker of mine alleged that I was being unprofessional because I wouldn't hold the door at her, or because I avoided her. Well, and I've said it time and time again to my superior and to HR, I was always taught, if you couldn't get along with somebody, and in this case, I didn't trust people and their motives, then you just stay away from them, you know? That doesn't make me unprofessional. Actually, it makes me smart, because I didn't want to get entangled in the drama. So because of these false narratives, because of the refusal to listen to my witnesses, my teaching contract has been revoked and I've been placed in transportation. I do have a master's degree in human resources, a master's degree in management leadership, a master's degree in secondary education. I am certified to teach both middle school and high school history, as well as business and information technology. I was mistreated the entire time I was there at that school. I followed the protocol to make my complaints known. I documented them. I took them to HR, all to no avail. I also learned that one of the ladies in HR that I actually reached out to, and I said, hey, I'm having problems with my supervisor, can I come in and talk to you? She actually took that email and forwarded it to my principal. There was evidence that the principal actually solicited the help of 2 or 3 teachers to create these narratives against me. And the moral apathy of certain people, the ones especially in HR, the silence of others have been just sickening. I have tried to handle this diplomatically. I've tried to handle it quietly. I've tried to do everything that I could, but those people in human resources treat me like they hate me. And it is all because I reported my supervisor. Since day one, her treatment of me has been substandard and very different from that of my coworkers. The hearing was botched. I have spent thousands of dollars in employment attorneys, but there was a missed deadline on behalf of my union attorney, and so that has caused some delays and some issues. The superintendent decided that he would use his personal attorney. His personal attorney defended my supervisor's non-reprimand of my white co-worker who used the phrase badass nigger by saying that the kids used it all the time and it was terms of endearment. When I went on to explain how inappropriate that explanation was and how offended I was, his follow-up was that he had been married to an African-American woman for 31 years and he had 4 biracial sons. So he thought the word was filthy, and he didn't use it, and he didn't tolerate the use of it, but he used it just fine, in explaining it. So through this whole ordeal, I felt like I was being forced out of my position, and now I know I am, because my pay has been reduced, meaning that the board did not terminate me from the county, but they revoked my teaching contract. Though they didn't give the superintendent permission or HR permission to reduce my salary was reduced. And when I challenged it, when I asked questions about it, I'm treated with hate. I was written up for refusing to sign a false document. A document that stated that you are not meeting standards. When my last evaluation was completed, I was meeting all 7 standards. I was told that I needed to read a book called Emotional Intelligence 2.0, that I needed to solicit and listen to honest feedback from my coworkers about my behavior and who I was. I was told that I couldn't get a complaint or from anybody, including a coworker. The terms of the PIP that they tried to put me on or put me on subsequently were so outrageous and so unfair that I couldn't believe it. But I had no recourse. I mean, who do you talk to in HR when HR is the mechanism that's allowing for this kind of treatment? So I'm posting this video because I'm all out of options, and I know this sort of things happen every day, and I'm hoping to not only be an advocate for myself, but an advocate for others that have been through this. I mean, it's a painful thing to watch a career that you've worked so hard at be taken from you. Yet you see your counterparts making the news for comments, coming up in school board meetings. Yet they're still holding on to those positions. Here I am, accused of something that I didn't do. 2 witnesses to disavow those statements, my own testimony. And that's not good enough. Now, the ladies, or I shouldn't call them ladies, but the people in HR treat me like I am so far beneath them, like I don't have a right to ask questions. I don't have a right to be curious about anything, that I do what they say or else. So I know that this video would lead to my reprimand and possible termination. But if that's what happens, then I accept that, and I'll go, but I won't go silently. And what was done to me won't be swept under the carpet. So, Amy White, Rita Goss, you two played a vital role in facilitating and covering the actions of Lisa Gray. I'm not sure. I don't understand what your purpose was, and I don't understand why you hate me so much, or what I've done to you besides exist. But my non-conformity to your illegal rules and your unethical acts does not make me unprofessional. And it is my prayer and my hope that you in some way have to pay for what you have done.